Today's video is sponsored by Into the AM. What is going on to all my movie fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, MovieFiles. We are back with a brand new early movie review, and today we are discussing the new action Sony film with a star-studded cast. We're talking Bullet Train, a film I got the chance to check out in theaters last night and in IMAX. And by the end of this video, I'm going to let you know if I think it's worth checking out and if it's worth taking a chance on seeing it in IMAX. We're going to be discussing that and so much more in today's spoiler-free review. But before we get into the breakdown, if you all want to know my thoughts on some of the latest movie news, TV news, ranking videos, prediction videos, theory videos, and so much more, well, make sure you're giving me a follow on Instagram as well as on TikTok. If you're new to this channel, welcome to the community. If you all enjoy early movie reviews like we're doing today, daily and weekly TV breakdowns, as well as live discussions, well, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give the video a thumbs up as well as share it. But more importantly, let's have some discussions in the comments from, were you excited for Bullet Train? And once you've seen it, what did you think? From your pros, your cons, favorite moments, favorite characters, what were some things that didn't work for you all? Let's talk about it in the comments. So with all that being on the way, let's get into my thoughts here. And I want to start off with the director of this film, David Leitch. Now, you all might know David for his work on working with the John Wick film, the first one. He directed Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, as well as Hobbs and Shaw. And for the most part, I enjoy those films. But I will say one thing about those films, it really didn't have, like, you couldn't tell who the director was, right? You could just kind of eject any type of action director in those films. But 4 films into his filmography, David Leitch, I think for me, I like his style. He has a style in this film. It's very high paced, very entertaining. And I would say this film, and particularly with David's direction, it reminded me a little bit of George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road, which in the sense of we're on this train and we're constantly moving. And that is kind of injected within the narrative. There's really never a boring moment. It's always moving pieces. There's always action going on. There's these new characters getting involved in the story. So after, like I said, the first 3 movies I've seen in David, this is like, who is David Leitch? But I would say by this film, he has a style, and I enjoyed it for the most part. But as far as what would I say about this film in comparison, as far as what are you getting yourself into walking into this movie, it's not as good as these movies I'm going to mention, but there is some John Wick isms in this movie, for the sense that you have a bunch of assassins who are trying to, you know, get this briefcase and at the same time trying to take each other out. So it has some of that going with it, and a lot of gun fu and hand-to-hand combat. And there's also some Kill Bill vibes, in particularly Kill Bill Volume 2 vibes. And I don't want to give too much away of why it reminds me of Kill Bill, but when you see the movie Bullet Train, you'll know why. I'll just say this: the kills are very over the top, and it's intentional. You know, there's a lot of samurai action, there's a lot of blood, and a lot of, you know, heads and decapitation. There's a lot going on in those apartments. So I will say this film reminds me of John Wick meets Kill Bill Volume 2 meets Deadpool. So that's kind of what you can expect when you get into this movie. But let's transition into the performances, because this cast is absolutely fantastic. And I can't spend, unfortunately, 20 minutes breaking down each character. But as far as standouts for me, Brad Pitt, he is our main lead. He goes by the name of Ladybug, and when you see the film, you'll understand why. But he is our lead assassin who has the world's worst best luck, if you want to say that. But listen, Brad Pitt is definitely having a good time, and this whole cast is having a good time. But I really enjoy Brad Pitt. He has, at this point in his career, he can do whatever he wants. Obviously, he has his own production company. He's been the leading man several times, dramas, you know, comedies every now and then, especially later in his career. But action Brad Pitt is someone I really enjoy, and he is really doing his thing in this film, and I really just enjoyed his energy. I enjoy his character, someone that's, if you all have seen HBO's Barry, it kind of has some Barry-isms in this character, where he is a guy that doesn't really like what he does, but he's good at what he does, right? And he's also kind of playing into the absurdity of what's going on in this scenario. So I really enjoyed Brad Pitt's performance. Also, I want to give a quick recognition to Jodie King, who plays a particular character who is very overlooked, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. But I did enjoy her schoolgirl kind of innocence to the film, and she will surprise a lot of you all. But a character, or I should say another character that really stood out to me, and a character and an actor I really enjoy, and I love that he was in this film, Hiroyuki Sanada. I have been a fan of his work for a very long time, and I love that he's now getting his chance to be in these type of films. You know, he was in Endgame, and he's been in so many other great films. He will be in John Wick 4. He plays the elder, and he kind of brings the more seriousness, to this very over-the-top type of film. And he's not in it a lot, but when he is involved, I really enjoyed his narrative. But the MVPs, the scene stealers, are the brothers, the twins, and that is Tangerine and Lemon, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. I'm telling y'all right now, I want a spin-off, I want a prequel, I want more of those characters. That's how fun they were. They're extremely funny. They have the funniest moments to me in the film. They have some of the best moments in the film, and they really have the emotional heart in this film, and when you see it, you'll know why. But Aaron Taylor Johnson is fantastic in this film. I'm very excited to see him as Kraven the Hunter, because he can show you, he started off, y'all remember Kick-Ass, where he came, and we see him in other, films every now and then, but Aaron Taylor Johnson was fantastic, and Brian Tyree Henry is just as great. I really enjoyed their chemistry, their brotherhood, their trust for one another, their brotherly fights for one another. It's just fantastic to see them in this movie. And like I said, when you all see the film, you'll know why I called them out. But finishing up my positives, this film is fun, man. I had a fun time. It's a fun ride. It's very self-aware, extremely meta, a lot of unexpected cameos, and I'll just give you all this advice. Don't go in this looking for this most integral storyline. A lot of it doesn't make the most sense, but I think when you sit down and understand what they're going for, you're going to have a good time within this narrative. So speaking of good time, before we get into my criticisms, let's take a moment to give a shout out and to show you all the sponsor in this video, Into the AM. Today's video is sponsored by Into the AM. Into the AM is a clothing company with a variety of amazing products such as t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, shorts and underwear, headwear, and much more. Their t-shirts have unique designs, they're incredibly soft and extremely comfortable, and they're made to last. But the best part is, you can get 10% off by using my discount code MovieFiles when you're selecting your new gear, which you can find that code in the description below. Thank you again, Into the AM. A lot of great stuff there. You all can use my discount code. Look them up. You're going to find some awesome things. And if you do buy a shirt or some apparel, let me know by tagging me. But again, shout out to Into the AM. So let's transition into my negatives of this film. And I will say, this film has a lot going on at points, right? Again, it's a very fun ride, but sometimes I think it took itself a little bit too seriously, and the plot was a little bit too integral than what it needed to be, a little bit too complicated at points. And I say that at points, this film felt like being on your Instagram feed, on your TikTok, on your YouTube, where you're just scrolling and scrolling, and there's a lot being thrown at you, right? There's a lot going on in this film. Throughout the narrative, there are multiple new characters. In this film, especially at the beginning, there's a film within a film within a film, right? And I think they call that like a frame story, where there's like multiple stories going on at one time and kind of injecting itself in front of the main narrative. And that happens a lot, especially in the beginning, where you're meeting a new character and then we're getting their backstory and we're getting their kind of how they got to the point in the film. And it was fun every now and then, but sometimes it was just like overwhelming, like, oh my goodness, I can't really attach myself to a character because we're getting the characters within themselves. There's really, I said Brad Pitt is the lead of this movie, but he's kind of the co-star of this movie, because everyone's essentially the lead of their own story. And it can kind of sometimes take away from a character growth and character development, because there's so many characters who has their own story, who has their own narrative, that it kind of takes away from who are we really navigating this film through. So that kind of got distracting. Very stylized. Again, I mentioned it's very meta, it's very self-aware, but it's almost too stylized. It almost takes away a little bit too much of the substance within the narrative. And also, I will say this, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 7 minutes or so. I could have went like they could have trimmed off like 15 minutes of the film, right? Especially in that third act, which it's fun. It's very big and bombastic, but it's almost too long. It was almost like, oh my goodness, when is this film, when is this train going to end? And lastly, there are some underwhelming elements. In particularly, I thought the action was great. It was very bloody, which I enjoy in my action films, but it was almost underwhelming to the sense of, we're in Tokyo, we have these assassins, and there's a lot of gun fu, but the hand-to-hand combat wasn't that great. I'll just leave it to that. And also, there are some underwhelming characters that I wish you would have spent more time with. I think of Michael Shannon. I think of Zazie Beetz. And for all my Bad Bunny fans out there, he's in the film and he has a moment, but he's not in it as much as you all might want to. So there are some underwhelming moments to those characters. So before I give you my score, before I let you know if it's worth checking out, if you stuck around to this point in the video, I appreciate you. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Overall, do I recommend you all give this a watch? Yes, it's a fun ride. It's a summer blockbuster with some good comedy, some really fun characters, very smoking aces. Deadpool meets John Wick, Kill Bill style. There are some underwhelming characters. The action, the hand-to-hand combat wasn't as fluid as I would have liked it to be, but at the end of the day, I had fun with this film, and I recommend you all give it a watch. And in IMAX, of all that, if you get the chance to, I'm going to give Bullet Train a 3.8 out of 5. That's my thoughts. Those are my pros. Those are my cons. But I want to know your thoughts. Let me know what you all liked about the film, what you didn't like about the film, and let's talk about it in the comments. Again, thank you to Into the AM for sponsoring this video, but thank you for watching this video. Give me a heart in the comment section if you're at this point in the video, because I appreciate you. But again, just a friendly reminder before you leave, like, share, comment, subscribe, come and join the community, and let's continue to grow together. So thank you all again for watching this video. Hope you're staying safe. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other reviews. Check out my most recent review, and we'll catch you all on the next breakdown.